All right, thank y'all for being here. This is sort of a culmination or a summary of the last 4 weeks and a couple of days for the 4 escapees from the Bibb County Jail. As everybody knows, back on October the 16th, we think around 3 o'clock, the 4 inmates escaped from the Bibb County Jail, and you got the video?
Yes, sir.
All right. This kind of got everything started here. These are the 4 inmates as they were escaping. All right. And these who those inmates were: Chavis Stokes, Mark Anderson, Jonathan Barnwell, and Joey Fournier. As soon as we were made aware of the escape, certainly everything went into play, and that's when this team that's assembled here all came into action with those and others that came to work and participated in the manhunts and in the captures of these individuals. The biggest break came when we confiscated or was able to find on the 20th of October, when we found the blue Dodge Challenger. And yes, this was the right car that we found. You'll remember there was some talk that we got the wrong car, but we got the right car. That sort of gave us a good break in the case. When we found that vehicle, it was able to lead us to other vehicles, but the one thing that finding that vehicle did led us to Jacalyn Williams. You see his picture there. He's arrested and charged in connection with the escape. We believe that Jacalyn had brought some contraband items to the jail prior to the escape in that Dodge Challenger. Jacalyn Williams' arrest led us to Christian Williams, who a few days later, U.S. Marshals Service personnel as well as Bibb County deputies went to an apartment over off of Vineville and were met with gunfire from Mr. Williams, Christian Williams, and then we believe that he subsequently took his own life. Christian Williams led us to Micaiah Williams. We don't believe any of these folks are all connected, all kin to each other, but they have the same last name of Williams. That led us to Micaiah Williams, who then led us to Janisha Green and Jacorcia Smith. It was determined that Miss Green and Miss Smith were basically swapping cars while they were going to visit Mr. Barnwell over near Augusta. They both were taken into custody and charged in connection with hindering apprehension of Mr. Barnwell. In addition, we made it our business to get involved into the mafia business and did some warrant sweeps. And as a connection to those, these individuals here were all arrested and charged with drugs or either gang activity, and some of these individuals were also charged federally. Two of the more prominent folks that are listed up here are Tarico Balcom and Alfonso Clyde. These are very, particularly Alfonso Clyde. He's a very high-ranking member of the mafia organization here in Macon, and is well known to law enforcement, and now he's facing federal charges in connection to his involvement with Mr. Barnwell and then the escape. While working on this end, investigators and U.S. Marshals were able to make contact with people connected with Mr. Stokes, and were able to make arrest of him down in Montezuma. And that's when he was taken into custody. Chavis Stokes was taken into custody in Montezuma. In addition, an investigation has revealed, continued investigation revealed, a connection with Tamisha Timley with Mark Anderson. And as we investigated these folks that had escaped, it was determined that once they got away from the LEC and got away, they pretty much all went their separate ways. They were sort of connected to each other while plotting the escape, but then once they got out, they all went their separate ways. It was determined that Tamisha Timley was connected with Mark Anderson, and through investigative techniques, through our work with our intelligence analysts and search warrants on cell phones and that sort of technological investigation, we were able to link her with Mark Anderson and found out that he was staying in a place in Atlanta. And we kept looking, and the intel unit and the investigators kept looking, and the way that they were able to get him was they were having food delivered. Tamisha Timley was having food delivered to Mark up there in his high-rise place that he was staying at in Atlanta. So once they had a Grubhub order, and if you notice, the Grubhub folks take a picture of where they deliver it. They delivered it to the front door, so they had an apartment number. So the next step was, there he was. And when they were going in the front door, Mark Anderson texts back to Ms. Timley, "Police at the door, baby. I'm going back to jail." So he knew that it was over with. Now, Joey Fournier sort of went off the grid for a little bit, but we had been in contact with his family and working with his family to where finally he decided to give it up. And Saturday morning he gave it up, and U.S. Marshal Service and folks went up there and made that arrest on Saturday morning. He had been living in a homeless camp up near Stockbridge pretty much the whole time since he had escaped. Some investigators had been up there Friday and found where he had been staying and got some of his belongings then, so he probably figured it wasn't long before we get him, so he just decided to turn himself in at that point. There's a whole lot of agencies, and that's what I want to talk about here. This is truly a teamwork operation. You'll see these agencies listed here: FBI, State Patrol, Clayton County Sheriff's Office, Richmond County Sheriff's Office. There's a number of agencies that worked to help to capture these 4 escapees. And it was truly a teamwork. There was no ego. Everybody worked together. Everybody followed the leads. Everybody followed the tips. And we had a successful operation, and these individuals were taken into custody. So all of these folks here, the gang unit, our SRT team, our criminal intelligence team, it all works together, and it shows that we have the resources, we have the dedication, we have the people, that when we are faced with a situation like this, I hope we don't have to use them all for a escapee again. But some of the other crime issues that we have, we put these same tools to the project, to the problem, so that we can solve it. So I'm very appreciative and very proud to be up here with these individuals. They're the ones that did all the work. These individuals right here on the gang unit, on the SRT, with the FBI, and our partners from GBI and all of these other agencies did not hesitate 1 second to come forward and help us in this case. So our appreciation goes out to all of them. In addition to these folks arrested, there were some other vehicles that were seized. This black Honda Accord was a vehicle that was connected to Janisha Green, who had gone back and forth to Augusta and up that way to see Jonathan Barnwell. The Toyota Highlander, that's another vehicle. That was Jacorsha Smith. They were swapping out these two vehicles to go to Augusta, so as not to be seen, but they were seen. The other vehicle was a vehicle that belonged to Joey Fournier's brother, Jeffrey, that we took that for some examination to see what involvement that vehicle may have had in his escape, or what involvement it may have had after he escaped. So all of that continues to be under investigation right now. So, but that is where we are, and I can't say enough again about how appreciative I am of these individuals, and our citizens should be very proud of the work that all of these deputies and all of these agencies put in to capture these 4 escapees, and now they're all back in custody. All right? Anybody got any questions?